Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning.
Do you want to introduce your business and where you are and what you specialize in?
Sure. My name is Wendy Sorensen, and I operate Wendy Sorensen Photography out of Urbandale, Iowa, which is a suburb of Des Moines. And I mainly photograph high school seniors and families, and I've been in business for about 7 years now.
Okay, all right. Well, give me a story of how you got into photography in general and how specifically you're doing what you're doing genre-wise.
Sure. Uh, like a lot of people, I'm sure, photography just started out initially as a hobby. When my husband and I were first married, we would travel quite frequently. We were, kid free for a while and had the time and the budget to travel. And so it was a vacation in Cancun in 2009, I believe, where, long story short, we had just these amazing ocean views off of our balcony. And it was the classic, the pictures don't do it justice. When we got back from our vacation, we just had our little Sony Cybershot point and shoot camera. And so that's what prompted us to get our first DSLR camera. And I started learning how to use it. And I thought, well, how do you get that blurry background? And so I actually would sit in the evenings and read the owner's manual to learn things about aperture. I had heard of that, but didn't know what it was. And I kind of remembered ISO from, like film speed days back in the day. And like when I had a 35 millimeter camera in high school. So in the evenings or my days off is when I would learn and practice. And then when our sons came along, I wanted to learn how to take nice pictures of them without having to hire somebody else to do it, honestly. So anyway, so it morphed from there. And then I started having, friends say, hey, would you take our pictures? And it just kind of, it evolved from there. And the more I thought about it, I thought, this could give me some flexibility for our family that would be hard for me to do with my nursing career. And so that's what really prompted that shift from hobby to making it more of a serious business venture. And so I did that officially in 2015. I still probably photograph more families than I do high school seniors at this time, but I just the more I do seniors, the more I really enjoy that genre of photography.
So if someone is out there looking for either a family or a high school senior photographer, what advice from a photographer's perspective would you give them when looking for that photographer?
Yeah. So, but aside from finding somebody whose style of photography that you enjoy, that really speaks to you and how you want your family or your high school senior photographed. Something else I'm kind of going in circles here, but besides just the style of that photographer of their work, how trendy is it? And what's it going to look like in 5 years or 10 years? I think most of us remember when sepia was all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
Reflective color was the hot thing. And that was really before I really got into photography, but most of us know what that is, where it's a black and white picture, but you got something that's in color. And that was all the rage back in the day. And now it's not, and it dates a photo. And so while I might, tell a client that there's nothing wrong with, gravitating toward a style that seems to be maybe trendy for the time, or whatever the case may be, whether it's a really light and bright image or a darker image, or dark and moody, as we say. And those things are fine, but how is that going to look in 5 years, in 10 years? If you're going to be hanging that portrait on your wall, which I hope you are, because why go through all the effort of planning a photography session for you and your family if it's just going to end up being digital dust on social media? Think of the end game.
Yeah.
So begin with the end in mind. What do you want to do with these photos? Some photographers will help you with that, what you want to do with those photos, and guide you in that process. Other photographers will give you a USB or a digital download link to do it yourself. Do you want to DIY the project? Some people do. And honestly, I know some clients out there don't want to do that. They tell me that.
Well, go a little bit more into then your process with your seniors or your families, with your business, and how it may be different than what some people are used to nowadays.
Okay, sure. So I do things different. I have more of a focus on printed products. I do sell digital images, but that's not the main thing that I focus on. It just, again, for me personally, and I think some of it might be the nurse in me too, just wanting to take care of people. I've just never felt like with offering just strictly digitals for someone to just do it themselves, and not that it's rocket science and people can't figure it out, but there was just that service aspect that was missing, that I really enjoy providing for my families. So when a client inquires with me, I try really hard to schedule a phone call with them initially if I can, or my preference is to meet with somebody in person, after dialoguing a little bit, via email or even text if that's how they reach out. But I like to meet with them in person if we can. And that, besides just being able to talk about the plans for the session, it gives us a chance to establish a little bit of a rapport, and that translates to the session itself, where some of those excuse me, some of those pre-session jitters are kind of taken care of because we've already met. It makes that process go smoother. So when we do meet for the session, we've already met, usually over Starbucks. I'm a coffee person, so whether we meet at a Starbucks or if I go to their home, which I'm going to be doing this evening with a high school senior and his family. I'll bring Starbucks with me along with all my samples and other session information. We talk about how to make the session personal for them. I'll use the high school senior example, but I bring product samples and show how we can decorate their home with the photos that we're going to create from the session. I bring various samples, hold them up to the wall. I also do room wall mock-ups on my iPad, where I take a photo of a wall in their room, maybe tape a sheet of paper to the wall so I have something to scale it. And I can show them what their photos would look like on their wall scaled to fit.
Can you tell people how best to follow you or reach out to you? Do you have the social media pages? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah. If I'm admittedly more active on Facebook. I'm trying to get a little bit more active on, I say it's because I'm old. But either way, you can message me through my Facebook or Instagram. It's Wendy Sorensen Photography, and Sorensen is with an S-E-N. It's the Danish spelling, as my husband likes to remind me. He's Danish. Otherwise, on my website, I have a contact form on my website that a lot of my inquiries come to me through there. Some people just give me a call as well. So I'm open with any of that. My website is wendysorensenphotography.com. And again, I've got a contact form there. My phone number, my email is there as well. And people can reach out in any way, and I'll always reply, and always anxious to chat with new people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, well, thank you, Bonnie. This has been great.